Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. Today, I guess I should say, you guys get VIP access to me and why I do what I do and why I wrote the original book. You think I wrote the original book and the podcast span off of that? No. The reason why I wrote my original book, I Come a Win, is because of my mom's death. And that is the why behind this podcast. And that being said, I am going to let a very special guest who actually knows me in real life take it away. And I would like to present to you guys my mom's BFF, who's Gail Hood Peterson. So without further ado, I'm going to let Miss Gail take it away.
Oh, well, Wynn, it's just such my pleasure to be talking with you and your audience today about your mother and our friendship, how special she was to me and of course to so many and of course especially to you and what a great influence she was on the woman that you are today. So where would you like to start?
Thank you so much for saying it. I would like to give people a little bit of history, and then we'll move forward. When did you actually form a relationship with my mom? I don't even know this.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was, well, I had moved to Aspen in 1974, and I think it was probably in the year of 1976. I was about 23 years old, and your mom was probably the same, and of course today is her birthday, and I think your mom would have been 65 today.
Yes.
I think she was
Correct.
just maybe a half a year older than I am. Yeah. So anyway, back in 1976, we were young and out of college, and I had met her through Jane Buffett, who was at the time just dating or living with Jimmy. And so I had met Jimmy and Jane Buffett here in Aspen, and your mom was a really good friend of Jane's, and also another friend of ours was Roxy Butler. And so, I would see your mom and think, this girl, she is so worldly. She knows how to cook. She knows how to dress. She knows how to have a presence in front of people. I mean, she really had it together, even way back then. And of course, I think that's a testament to her upbringing and her family and just who she was as a person. But anyway, I met her somewhere back there in 1976, and we had a lot of fun back there. And then also, your mom and dad were living together next to Hunter Thompson, and I was living with what became my first husband, who became my first husband, Palmer, and we lived on the other side of Hunter and Fanny Thompson at the time. And so we would, get to go to parties together, and we'd go to the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band concerts, and we just had a lot of fun. Actually, it was pretty much, carefree days, and so that's how we got to know each other.
Always carefree days now, not so much carefree days anymore. I mean, Aspen, for those of you guys who don't know, Aspen has dramatically changed. So what Jill is speaking of is the Aspen that I wish I knew, but I unfortunately won't know because Aspen is dramatically changed. I mean, I had Mike Morell on my podcast also, and he said that Aspen has changed so much from what you see in the United magazines to what he talks about as well. He talks about old time Aspen, and now people don't get to see that. They see Sue and the wine, and that's about it.
Right, right. Yes, it has changed. Yes.
It just has changed dramatically, and I wish I got to see the small town Aspen, but unfortunately I don't, because it has changed so dramatically, even in my lifetime. I mean, we now have a 4-lane highway which was built in my lifetime between Glenwood and Aspen. So, believe it or not, I am so used to this small town, but yet in a bigger sense than I would ever think of it, because in my lifetime things have changed. So, just to let you guys know where we're coming from, Aspen will never be the same. I mean, it's growing by leaps and bounds. So that being said, what is your favorite memory of my mom?
What is my favorite memory? Well, let me think about that. Okay, I can tell a story. Your mom and I went Christmas shopping, and you were just a tiny little girl, and my children were young also. My children are now 32 and 34, so whatever the age difference is, we'll just actually 2 and 4 years, because you are now 30. We just had your birthday.
Yes, let's admit that. Which
was a fabulous day. Yes. So your mom and I went Christmas shopping, and let's see, we were staying at I'm trying to think what it was. It was like a Marriott or something at a hotel. And anyway, we had adjoining rooms, and the fire alarm went off in the middle of the night. And so she ran in my room and she said, "Get all your jewelry and all your presents, and we're going to run downstairs." And I said, "Well, just hold the phone. Just wait a minute. Let's see if this is real." And so we called down, and they said, "Well, we think we have it under control. Just stand by." So anyway, Carol Ann said, "And now let's get out of our pajamas. Let's get dressed and get all of our stuff." So we got all of our jewelry on, got all of our clothes. Well, I guess we put our clothes on first and then our jewelry, and grabbed our Christmas bags that we've been shopping for, and we ran out into the hall, and everybody else was out there in their pajamas, and here we were ready to go, and it was a false alarm. So
of course, the false alarm. But that being said, when she walked out of here with a brain aneurysm, we didn't know at the time what it was, she said to her sister, "Where's my purse?" And that's the last sentence out of her mouth before she got medevaced out on July 12th. So, yeah. So basically,
I actually didn't know that, but
well, I didn't tell you that, because that's how my mom was. While the rest of the company's standing in their PJs, she's fully dressed, and she's asking where her purse is as she's on the way to the hospital to deal with
just like
a
the Queen, right? Just like the Queen of England.
Yes, exactly.
Always
exactly.
has her ever-present bag. Yes,
exactly.
No, your mom was a lot of fun, actually. When in thinking about what my favorite memories were, it's hard to pinpoint the moments. More what comes to mind for me is she had such a great sense of humor, and it was really a dry sense of humor. I mean, she had a great laugh. I mean, when she laughed, her upper body shook. She just had this just really fun laugh. And she was a lot of fun to be around. She was interested in things, and she was interesting, and she was a lot of fun to be with as a young person, and as we grew together as young mothers.
Either. She wasn't quiet now either. I mean, she could hold a conversation with the best of them. And granted, my mom did have asthma, and so yes, I grew up with a asthmatic, but that didn't stop her from doing what she wanted to do. On a bad day, she would just take cortisone and carry on. I mean, and
right.
So she wasn't the quiet mouse either. I mean, she and I you would hold conversations like there was no tomorrow. And so basically, how do you feel about from the outsider's perspective, how do you feel about that my community and you should raise awareness about aneurysms and meningitis? Because we actually a couple months, I believe it was a couple months after my mom died, another mutual friend of ours had a brain aneurysm and of course survived it. So how do you think we all should start raising awareness about brain aneurysms and meningitis?
Well, I don't know that I really have that much information. I mean, I know that viral meningitis is caused by a virus, and bacterial meningitis is obviously caused by bacteria, and it can be very contagious. I think when you have warning signs, your mom, with her slow leaking brain aneurysm, she had some warning signs, but we had no idea what that was. And she was such a person to carry on, as many people are. They just don't recognize when something is really serious. And she was one who carried on all the time and would just continue doing her normal schedule of whatever needed to be done for the day. And I think that Carol Ann really didn't recognize how serious this was, and nor did your father or I or anyone around her.
Any of us. No, because she just carried on with the brain aneurysm surgery. She just carried on with the brain aneurysm. And so I've actually spoken to brain aneurysm. I've actually spoken to people who have now started foundations in honor of brain aneurysms, and they say it manifests in different ways in people. They say you can either get a splitting headache or just carry on. And I believe that my mom was the type that because she had asthma so badly as a child and into adulthood, that she just carried on with another disability, so to speak, and didn't realize how serious it was until July 12th. I mean, we thought, okay, this is great. She just has a bad case of the flu. That's what we all thought. And unbeknownst to all of us, it turns into let's get Carol Ann rendered back out. And so it manifests in completely different ways. But if you have blurry vision or loss of hearing or loss of vision, or your eyes are closed, like my mom finally were, and I say finally because someone spotted that, and go get it checked out. Go get it checked out. because it could be a brain aneurysm, and you don't even know what could happen next. And we certainly did not know.
This? I'm sorry, go ahead.
We certainly did not know what could happen next. I have done more research in my own life since this.
What I was going to say is, were you aware that your dad took her to the hospital to be checked out, and she did not want to go or did not want to have?
Yeah, I was.
Brain scan
I was
at the time.
aware.
Yeah, because I don't think.
Aware,
I do think she just thought she had the flu, and just like oftentimes people think, well, let's give it 2 or 3 days, which seems like a normal course of action, but as you say, sometimes things are more serious. So I guess if your symptoms are really out of the ordinary, you definitely should go have it checked out.
Yeah, definitely, you guys. And that's a great point you bring up. Even if the loved one you're trying to assist in the brain aneurysm is saying, no, I don't need one, no, I don't need one, no, I don't need a brain scan, say, yes, you do, and force them to get a brain scan. Even though we're dealing with adults, you sometimes need to say, yes, you do. This is how we're doing it. This is what we're doing. And that's what my mom always said to me. Look, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. I don't care that you like it or not. But when it came to her, she carried on. But when it came, because she was so concerned about me, and what people can't believe is after 3 to 4 hours of clotting the brain aneurysm down in Denver at Swedish Medical Center, she was asking who's taking care of when, not naming the people in the room and not carrying on like that. She was making a frequent sentence with who's taking care of when. So basically, it shows how much family and friend support that I have to be the woman I am today, because there she is just dealing with a brain aneurysm, and her first thought and her first full-fledged sentence was who's taking care of when. And that's what really amazes people, to think that a person could have the best relationship with their child. And even though their child was disabled, she took that on like there was no tomorrow. So I wanted to ask you this. What would you say, Kel, that people should know, not only about my mom, but about me and about the disabled in general? I always say don't judge a book by its cover, but coming to you as you know me as closely as you do, what would your advice be to my audience listening to this podcast?
Well, I think you had a real advantage in that both your parents did everything in their power to integrate you into, everyday life, movement, activities, socialization. I think oftentimes, and I don't know this firsthand, but I think oftentimes a lot of disabled people are somewhat isolated at times, or because at times they don't have the freedom to move in our society as easily as able-bodied people, is that just to act as if and to move forward in their lives and integrate themselves in every kind of situation they can in life. And I mean, you are a prime example of, your mother. She did everything she could, and your father. I have to give your dad a lot of credit, obviously too. He has been right there, all along, being your greatest cheerleader and support system, or the two of them together. But for instance, when you got to be in the Olympic torch carrying, I mean, she made sure that you got out there and you were just part of the torch carrying. It wasn't about you being disabled. She just, got you in there. She, into the sporting events, snowboarding, all of your events at the Aspen Club. She in schools. I mean, your birthday parties, everything. She always made you feel as if you didn't have any disability, and I know that's easier said than done at times, but if all of us could be more aware of what you have to go through just to get into certain buildings, or to make people aware that you too are just as smart as the next guy. It's a whole education, and it may be sometimes when speech comes slower, it doesn't mean that your brain is slower. It means that it just comes out slower, and you actually may be giving the thought that you want to express more time to come out in the way you want to express it. I don't know. It's just it's been such a blessing.
And yes,
to get to know you. Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with you that I am the luckiest person on the planet. I had the advantage of being raised as if I had no disability, but most people in my position don't. And I'll tell you guys this fact, and Jill knows this fact actually because she saw me as a young child in the NICU. And so what they were telling parents back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is, now I'm of the 87 generation, so the 80s still counts, but what they were telling parents of people with cerebral palsy, aka CT, is put these kids in a home. They will never function. They will never walk. They will never talk. They will never do anything. And so
the result of your mother and father's visit with the doctor that may have suggested that was an alternative.
I was going to get that. I was going to put that in there. My mom said, no way, no how. We'll take this child, Wynn, as she is, and love her without a disability. And I think that's what really shaped me into the woman I am today, because I was given the name Wynn, and I think I explained this before, but Wynn is actually my paternal grandmother's name on my mom's side. So they didn't name me Wynn for nothing. And so what happened was basically I have and will continue to fight, but always, and I say this to people, and I will tell you this live on this interview, always look outside the box and love the person even if they're not disabled. Love the person as they are. And so when do you agree with that, Gail?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, your mother's words, I think, to the doctor, your mother's words were next, meaning this is not even up for discussion.
Yeah.
And
next.
So
that sounds
she
like
knew how strongly she loved you, and she knew that
Yeah.
that you would grow up to be the woman that you are. And well, who knows if she she's looking down on you, I'm sure today, especially on her birthday. But
Yeah.
goodness, I mean, she did see you as a young woman. You had already graduated from high school. You had been working. You had, been a flourishing young woman. And so, she did see that, of course, before she, passed on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. She did. But it's so funny because I now am dealing with vocational rehab. Vocational rehab helps the disabled not only find jobs, but get involved with education, because as you guys all know, without education, you can't find a good job, and that goes with anyone. And so it's funny because I had my first initial meeting with them, and I said, my goals are X, Y, and Z. My goals are freelance writing. And the person, my coach, goes, gulp, and she goes X, Y, and Z to this question, and I spit out a bunch of answers, and she goes, I have never had a client give me the exact answers that I needed. And I'm like, well, that's me. Now I'm a number of 80 patients, which is kind of scary, but that's with the rehab. And so I think when people see me, they automatically judge a book by its cover. I mean, here I am in a walker, and I have CP, but when I open up my mouth, it goes 1,000 miles a minute. And so, as we said before, never, ever, ever, ever judge a book by its cover.
That's right. That's exactly right. When I think it's also important to have eye contact with people, if you have the ability to do that, because when you have eye contact, I think that they can see more of the person in there. If you're looking down at the ground, or if you're not able to do that, I certainly understand. But if you have the ability to have eye contact with a person, I think that really holds their attention and maybe makes them stop and think, well, wait a minute, this person has something valuable to say. And that's just a simple observance on my part.
That's an excellent point. You bring excellent points out here that you have been dealing with me for 30 years, which that's the simple observance on your part. But for those who don't know how to deal with the disabled, and I brought you on to speak about my mother, of course, but I brought you also on to give points for dealing with the disabled, because you have been integral in my life for 30 some odd years. And that's a little hard to believe, but still, you, Jill, bring up a good point in saying if the person can make eye contact, let them do that, and do not talk to the aide if you can get away with it. I know that a lot of disabled individuals have aides to help them, but do not talk over the disabled individual. Talk to them, and if they can, make them look you in the eye. And that's a simple observance on Phil's part, but still, that's a great point.
Well, and don't you think, Lynn, to position yourself, for instance, if we would, go to the music tent or something, that you have told me that you see better from left to right, I believe. And so I think to position yourself in certain situations when you know you're going to be visiting with someone or whatever, to position yourself in a position where you feel most comfortable and can be yourself the most, and So anyway, that's just a special observance.
Yeah,
Just
position yourself in the best way for the disabled child or the disabled adult, because most people do not get down to a wheelchair at a wheelchair's level. They stand, like my dad, for example. He will now, but for years he didn't get down to a wheelchair's level. So the person in a wheelchair is looking up at a gentle giant, and that's not good. That's not good. So basically what we're saying is basically make yourself presentable to the disabled individual.
Well, to give yourself a better advantage, I think, or in order to be able to communicate a little bit easier, or for that person to feel that you're in contact with each other a little bit easier. Because I think there are times when an able-bodied person doesn't understand, as you say, they need to get on the same level. So I think the awareness, of course, goes both ways. Awareness of positioning yourself if you have some disability, and to the best of your advantage, and that allows the person you're interacting with possibly to be at an advantage too, to learn more or to be able to listen more, whatever.
Well, I just want to thank you for sharing some insights about my mom and about me, which I didn't think you were going to do, but that's okay. My podcast, you get to share insights about me too. And so the main point is to give you guys VIP access into a little bit more history of me and a little bit more history of why I wrote the book, the original book, I Come a Win. And we'll have all of Carol's information in the show notes. And it's been a wonderful interview, as always. And I hope you guys enjoyed another fabulous episode. And Carol, what are your closing thoughts as we close this interview out?
Well, all I can say is I think that you are a very special young lady, young woman actually, that has so many skills and so much to share with all of us. And I appreciate the opportunity to be your friend and to have been your mom's best friend or one of her best friends. And, in thinking about what, maybe a question I can ask you, what do you think was one of her greatest gifts that she gave you?
Oh, geez. The greatest gift that she gave me, and you know this firsthand, is that she gave me the power of speaking, and she gave me the power of not being disabled. And so that's one of the greatest gifts that she gave me as a mom, because when she pulled me off baclofen, for those of you who don't know, baclofen is muscle relaxer. It also relaxes a little too much the synapses of the brain, and without me being off baclofen, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. You guys know that. But I think what she gave me was the gift of speech and the gift of seeing myself as a non-disabled woman.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so that is a wonderful way to end this interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed the little behind-the-scenes access, and I hope we can do it again, and we'll have Kel's information in the show notes. And we will just keep making this world an amazing place. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you, Lynn. Bye-bye.